So guys, I wonder what we're going to do for class today. Well, I don't know. I don't know what Miss Jefferson's going to teach us about. Hey Jeffrey, what do you think she's going to teach? I don't know, probably some equations or some shit like that. Okay, oh, there she comes. Let's take a seat quickly. Now, come on in, folk. Hey, where the hell's Miss Jefferson? Oh, well, that's the thing. I'm your new substitute teacher, Mr. Algebra. Algebra. Brah, shut up, Stephen. Now, today we're going to be going over some revision topics, because as we all know, your big exams are coming up. Who cares? Quiet, Jeffrey. Now, we'll be going through some revision topics. So if you can all take note of these in your folder. But we don't have folders, sir. Quiet. Now, look, just copy the board here, okay? Just copy the board. Now, onward we go to these notes on our revision lists. So, okay, class, first up. Have you heard about standard form, like using calculators to do standard form? Not really, sir. Well, this is how you do it, right? You get your calculator out, right? And you go to, well, you don't exactly need a calculator for this, so say you get a big number, like say 1 million. And you know that decimal point at the end? Ooh, I know it, sir, I know it. That's right, Greg, you're getting this. Now, you get that decimal number at the end of the number, and you bring it over to the digit. But remember, it has to be the first digit, and you have to bring it over until the whole number itself is between 1 and 10. Doesn't that sound simple enough, sir? It does sound simple, doesn't it? Now, here's the tricky part. You have to count how many times it went to how many times that the decimal point moved. So say 10 million, right? You have to move the decimal point 6 spaces in order to get to the number 1. Now that 1 is between 1 and 10. Obviously, sir, yes. So that means that will be 1 to the power of 6. Wait, where are you getting this power crap from? Well, it's not crap, Stephen, but I'll tell you now. The amount of places the decimal moved is the power. Alternatively, if it's a decimal number, like say 0.01, and you're moving it to the 1, then that will become minus 1. No, that will become 1 to the power of minus 3. Do you get it now? Well, I think I get it, dude. So, yeah, what's our next topic? That's the spirit, Jeffrey. Now, our next topic. Yes, our next topic. Moving on, and our next topic. You all have your protractors on you, don't you? Yes, sir, we do. Okay, now, those protractors, they are for... Have you ever heard of scale bearings? Yes, sir. Well, these protractors are going to come in handy for scale bearings. Have you ever heard of those degree signs? Oh yeah, sir, they're for our, the protractor, like a 90 degrees angle, 180 degrees angle, yes, yeah, good job. Now, they will come in useful for bearings. A bearing is basically a line. A 3-figure bearing is basically you're going clockwise until you reach the line you want to reach. I hope this isn't too complicated out there, folk. But anyway, how many degrees you got then will be your 3-figure bearing. Now, if you're going anti-clockwise, you still have to keep going clockwise. That's why it is a 3-figure bearing. So if we're going this way, how much would that be as a 3-figure bearing? Ooh, that's easy, sir. It's 270. That's right, Greg. Well done. Now, one thing you must note. If it's less than 99, the angle, you have to put a 0. Otherwise, you'll get that wrong in your exam. No pressure. Okay, so, our next topic. Our next topic. Now, have you ever heard of Pythagoras' Theorem? Oh yeah, that sounds really hard. Indeed, it does sound hard. Now, the reason why that sounds hard, it's actually kind of easy. Out of trigonometry and Pythagoras, trigonometry we'll be going into in a second, I find Pythagoras to be the easier. Now, that's just my personal opinion. So, to do Pythagoras, you know the way there's the long end on each triangle? Oh yeah, I get that, bro. Good boy, Greg. Now, you take that and you square it. Now, you'll have, usually, in order for Pythagoras to work, you'll have, you know the way there's 3 sides to a triangle? Oh, dude, Illuminati confirmed. Yeah, that's enough, Jeffrey. Now, there's 3 sides to a triangle. So, usually, 2 of those sides will be marked with a number, but you'll have to find the other one out. So you square the values of the other 2 sides to get the longer side, and then you take the square root of that number. This is why those calculators are important, and you get your final answer. So if there's a triangle and 2 sides are marked, one of them is 2 centimeters and one of them is 3 centimeters. So you square 2 to get 4, and you square 3 to get 9, and you add them together to get 13, and then you take the square root of 13. So you got that? Yeah, I think we got that. That's great, Stephen. Glad to see you're paying attention. Now, over to our next topic. You probably know what this is by now. It's trigonometry. Now, trigonometry, as I mentioned, appears to be the harder one when it's compared to Pythagoras. So this time, instead of taking the length, you're actually getting the angle this time. So usually, wait a minute, how does that work? Well, Greg, if you would stop interrupting me, I'll tell you. So, you know the way the longer side, you know what that's called? Oh, isn't that the hypotenuse or something? That's right, Jeffrey. Now, that's the hypotenuse. In a diagram, you label that H. And the opposite side will be O. And then the alternative side, which is the side you have left, is A. So you got that? The hypotenuse is H. The side opposite the hypotenuse is O. And the one that's left is A, dude. That's right, children. Now, this is how it gets complicated. There's this there's this saying you have to learn off. It's called sa, ka, toa. And it all depends on the side that you're trying to work out. So, there's a side, usually, that you're trying to work out. And very usually, there's another side that has a number on it. But the one that doesn't have the number, you don't include. So say if it's the H and the O that have the symbols, but the A doesn't, then that is sa. And then if it's the O and the A, it's toa. And if it's the A and H, then it's ka. Now, this is where it gets complicated. Yeah, what does the C, S, and T mean in sa, ka, toa, sir? That's what I was getting to, Greg. So, you will need a calculator for trigonometry. See, the S in sa means you use the sign button in your calculator. The C in ka, if you're using ka, means you're using cos. And in tan, the tan button in your calculator, if you're using toa, that's the angle you use. Now, if you do the following calculations after that, then that should get you your final answer. But once again, Even me being a math teacher, I mean, it says on my t-shirt, I am a mathlete. You know, it's very hard for me. I mean, I struggle with this topic myself, children, but there shouldn't be too much questions on it in the test anyway, so you should be golden for it. So, like, we don't have to revise that topic? Oh, no, Stephen, you will still have to revise that topic. Now, anyway, on to your next book of notes. We will revise those. Alright, so you've heard of stem and leaf diagrams, haven't you? Oh yeah, I see trees all the time that have stems and leaves. Yeah, not exactly those leaves and stems, you numpty. Ugh. Now, the stem and leaf diagrams I'm talking about it's pretty hard to explain unless you have pen and paper. So does anyone have pen and paper on them? Let's see here. There we go. Alright, so if you get, like, it's kind of hard to see, but what it is you have a whole series of numbers, right? Yes, sir. And they're double digits, aren't they? Yes, sir. Now, you take the first number in each of those numbers that you're trying to list, and you put them in this column. And then the last number you put on this column. Does that sound simple? Well, yeah, that sounds simple enough, sir. Well, I'm glad it does, because it was really awkward to explain. Shout out to the notebook. Thank you. So if I was trying to group 12, 15, and 21, what would you write? Oh, you would write 1, line 2, 1, line 5, and 2, line 1. That's correct. But there's one thing you need to know. You must put them in an order from either smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Preferably smallest to largest. But that has to be apparent. And another thing that has to work. Then they all have to be stacked on top of each other, like the 2 category and the 1 category. If there's multiple numbers in each category, they must be in line with each other. Like if you write 2, 3, 4, and then in the 1 category you write 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that will get you no marks. They have to be in line. So yeah, it's kind of like neat and tidy, like my desktop. Indeed it is, Jeffrey, indeed it is. Yay. Now, on to the next topic. Inequalities is easy stuff, right? All you do is like the less than and more than sign, right? Yes, sir. But, have you heard of a less than or equal to sign? Isn't that the sign with, like, the less than sign with the line under it, and the more than sign with the line under it? That's correct, Jeffrey. Well done. So that's basically what inequalities has for you. Now, you know the way in order to calculate the area of a circle, you need to know pi. What's your problem? I like pie. So, sit down, Greg. So, you take the diameter of the circle, if you want to find the area of it. You half that to get the radius. Now you square the radius and multiply that by pi. That will get you your final area. Now, in order to get the perimeter, you need to take the diameter, do not get the radius, get the diameter, and then you multiply it by pi. Does that sound simple enough? Yeah, that sounds simple enough, sir. I mean, we can do that, no problem. Great to hear it, Stephen. Great to hear it. So, I believe we are now on our last set of notes here, our last notebook. Oh, this is one new one that I recently learned. Have you ever heard of simultaneous equations? Well, folk, I've learned about equations, but I'm not really sure about the simultaneous part, you know? Yeah, that's understandable, Jeffrey. I mean, this is pretty new to me as well. Now, you get one set of equations, like say it's 2x plus 3y equals... actually, let's look up an example here. Let's see, this won't take too long. Okay, 3p plus q equals 8. And underneath it, we have another equation. 2p plus 3q equals 10. Now, what we do is we find out those equations. We label them 1 and 2. The top one is 1 and the lower one is 2. So if we got that, class, that's good. Now, if both of the signs in the equations are the same, and these two are pluses, we take them away. But if they're different, we add the bottom equation onto the first. But usually multiplication will have to be involved. So you have to multiply them so that the second part, which is q, in this instance, is the same. So for example, we're multiplying the top one here by 3. So that becomes 9p plus 3q equals 24. And then the second one, we have 2p plus 3q equals 10. Now, the q's in this instance, they're the q's, they have to be the same. Now, because those two are pluses, the bottom equation has to be taken away from the first, which leaves us with 7p equals 14 and p equals 2. All we have to do now is sub into any equation, we'll give you any answer, but in this instance we're going to sub it into the first, so 3p plus q equals 8, 3 multiplied by 2 plus q equals 8. Now lads, can any of you tell me what 8 take away 6 is? Oh, that's 2, sir. Correct, Stephen. That is our final answer. That is what q is equal to. So p equals 2 and q equals 2. Have we got that? Oh yeah, dude, I think we do, sir. That's great. So, how much topics do we have now to revise, children? Okay, we have one final topic. And then we can go for our lunch break? Yes, we can go for our lunch break, Greg. I nearly called you bread there, son. Now, pardon me. Now, speed equals distance over time. So if I ran 10 meters in 3 seconds, what would my average speed be? Let's see here. 10 over 3. 3.3, sir. That's correct. That's correct. Well done. Okay, class, that is all our topics done. You can now go out for lunch. Yay! Yay! Pizza! So, children, at home, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed this simple puppet show. This has been Algebra, and remember to try these tactics at home. I mean, revise these topics. They will do you wonders, because they do appear a lot in the exam. But till then, that's Algebra, and now I'm off for my lunch break. Yahoo!